The opposition leader says the coalition can help solve the housing crisis by slashing immigration and international student numbers. In his budget reply speech last night, Peter Dutton outlined a hefty cut to permanent migration and overseas student numbers, as well as shutting out foreign buyers and temporary residents from the housing market.
Law and order, nuclear energy and public service job cuts were also on the Liberal Party's agenda. To drill down into all of the details, let's bring in our political reporter Stephanie Borris at Parliament House in Canberra. Steffi, good morning. So what did Peter Dutton have to say?
Good morning, Michael. Well, in his budget in reply speech last night, Peter Dutton was saying the way to ensure that there are more homes available is to cut the number of migrants allowed to live here in Australia. So he outlined a policy around that, but didn't outline any details around exactly how more homes could be built, which is part of the issue too. On the migration side, the announcement was that the permanent migration intake would be reduced by 25% over 2 years, for 2 years. So putting that into figures, it's 185,000 spots down to 140,000 spots. We're talking here, Michael, about people on permanent family visas, humanitarian visas and skilled migrant visas. We don't know the breakdown between those three visa types as to how many would be cut. Mr Dutton confirming that yes, the refugee intake would be reduced under the humanitarian visas, but so far this morning neither him or his senior colleagues have been able to outline just how many positions would go from those other visas as well. Aside from reducing the permanent migration intake, Mr Dutton has promised to reduce the number of international students allowed in each year, as well as not allowing foreign investors to buy established dwellings in Australia for 2 years. That would be a 2-year ban. But he did admit this morning in some interviews he's done that, look, it's not a lot. Over about 2 years, the government says foreign investors have bought about 4,000 homes, so that's not going to change the housing market dramatically. All of that said, Michael, Mr Dutton last night was declaring the policies that the coalition has put forward will ensure that there's more homes available here in Australia.
We celebrate the contributions of migrants over many decades. We're a great country because of what they've helped to build, and the great Australian achievement of modern Australia is something that we celebrate every day. But by getting the migration policy settings right, the coalition can free up more houses for Australians. We believe that by rebalancing the migration program and taking decisive action on the housing crisis, the coalition can free up almost 40,000 additional homes in the first year.
And Mr Dutton also reiterated a policy put forward at the last federal election by the coalition that people looking to buy their first home could have access to their super to create that deposit that so many people are desperate to find and to save. Aside from housing and migration, Michael, energy was a key part of this speech. Mr Dutton once again insisting nuclear is the way to go, but he didn't outline where those nuclear reactors would be, how much it would cost or the timeline. And on health, Mr Dutton once again reiterating a promise made last year as well, that if the coalition was to win government, they would increase the Medicare subsidised psychological visits from 10 to 20 and make that permanent.
Stephanie Borris at Parliament House, thank you.
An electronic prescription provider is at the centre of a large-scale ransomware data breach. Melbourne-based MediSecure manages digital prescriptions that were issued at the end of 2023, and authorities say the incident is currently being investigated. Let's go to our reporter Tani Josh in Sydney for more. Tani, just tell us, this is concerning for a lot of people caught up. What do we know about this data breach?
Good morning, Bridget. Well, it's still unclear how many people have been impacted by this breach or how it happened in the first place. MediSecure, who released a statement last night, say they've identified a cybersecurity attack that's impacting the health and personal information of individuals. Now, in response to that, they've pulled down their website and said they are taking immediate steps to mitigate any further potential risks to their system. We've also heard from the Federal Minister Claire O'Neill, who said that the government is looking into this very serious incident along with the Australian Federal Police. So as this story continues to develop, we'll be bringing you that information this morning.
Thanks a lot, Tani.
Emma's here with the rest of the news.
Thanks, Michael. Family and sexual violence organisations say they'll need to start winding back services because the federal government hasn't invested enough in its latest budget. Legal centres have told the ABC the funding uncertainty will leave them with no choice but to stop taking on clients. In a statement, Social Services Minister Amanda Rishworth admitted there's more to do, but says the government has invested $3.4 billion in the sector. The United Nations top court is being urged to order a ceasefire in Gaza as South Africa claims Israel must be stopped to ensure the survival of the Palestinian people. The request for emergency measures comes as part of South Africa's case at the International Court of Justice accusing Israel of genocide, an accusation Israel denies. Police are investigating two separate fires at tobacco stores in Melbourne's north this morning. Both fires in Glenroy are being treated as suspicious. They come amid a spate of tobacco shop fires across Melbourne in the past year.